We're going to be continuing with the KenBurns effect now. So one of the things that I think is really important about learning how to animate is always remembering that you animate from the end to the beginning. So you kind of want to figure out like where you're going from and where you're coming from when you're doing the KenBurns effect, so that you're not doing a whole lot of just playing around, but you're kind of deciding what you want beforehand. And I do have to move this over a little bit more so I can see the timeline of my video effects. This timeline right now, if you scrub on it, the small effects control timeline, is the timeline that represents your video as a whole. Now, by default, when you import images, it comes in 5 seconds long. That might be long enough, it might not be. If you need to extend its length, just click on the right hand side of that image and drag it out, or you can drag it in and you'll see that the numbers are changing. Right now it's showing that I've included, let's see, it's now a minute longer plus 3 minutes longer, and the whole thing is a total of 12 seconds or something like that, which is actually pretty long. So you just want to kind of figure out what your length is going to be before you start doing too much effects with it. So anyway, up here with the in the effects control window, I want to make my first keyframe. So I've kind of placed my image where I think it's going to start off with, so it's as accurate as possible. And you want to click on your little toggle switch here for position and scale, and you'll see that they create keyframes. You could also do it for the other things: rotation, anchor point, anti-flicker, which I'm not really sure what that is. And then we have opacity as well, and we could make our opacity have a keyframe if we needed to. I'm not going to, because I'm going to use transitions, using transitions instead of video transitions instead of opacity keyframes. Then I'm going to go back in time to the beginning, and I'm going to scale my object a little bit and move it over a little bit, and you'll see that it's created this animation. Now, one of the things that's always important to remember is that linear animations are never really that beautiful. So one of the things that you always want to consider using is easing of some sort. The way to add easing to your keyframes is to select your keyframes by dragging over them, right-clicking, choosing temporal interpolation, and using ease in or ease out. I might ease into these, and the ones on the left I will ease out of. And what this does is this smooths down the transitions. So now I'm going to hit the play, and you'll see it smooths in. Now, if we have an image which is fading in and moving at the same time and then fades out before it has a chance to end, then it's totally fine for us to have linear animation and not have the easing, because we've never seen it stop. And that's a very effective thing to do with the KenBurns effect, is to have it fade in and fade out while it's still moving. So here's what we're going to try and do in our next video, is actually bring in another piece of clip art or another photo and do the KenBurns effect so that we can create a transition between the two of them and not have that seam shown.